On a snowy Christmas Eve in New York City, Elena Carter stepped out of the hospital after a brutal double shift that had drained every ounce of her strength. The cold air stung her tired face, but it also felt refreshing, like a reminder that the world existed beyond sterile hallways and beeping machines. She pulled her coat tighter, thinking only about getting home and sleeping. That was when a man gently called her name. She turned, confused, her mind still half inside the hospital walls, unaware that this simple moment would soon change everything. The man standing before her was Daniel Brooks, someone she recognized only vaguely. He was a quiet volunteer, always polite, always in the background, bringing coffee for nurses and never asking for attention. His presence felt calm, almost out of place in the noisy city street. Without trying to impress her, he handed her a bouquet of deep red Christmas roses. His voice was steady and sincere as he said she deserved kindness. There was no flirtation, no hidden motive, just respect. Elena felt something soften inside her, something she hadn't felt in a long time. For weeks, Elena had been living on emotional autopilot. Her life was filled with long shifts, secrecy, and a relationship that existed only in shadows. Victor Romano gave her luxury, protection, and influence, but never public acknowledgement or emotional safety. Standing there with roses in her hands, Elena felt seen as a human being, not a possession. She smiled, a real smile, the kind that reached her eyes. Snowflakes landed on the petals, and for a brief moment, the world felt quiet and gentle, like it was offering her a choice. Across the street, inside a black SUV with tinted windows, Victor Romano watched the scene unfold. His powerful frame was tense, his fingers clenched around a leather glove. The sight cut deeper than any betrayal he had faced in his criminal career. He was a man feared across the city, a boss who ruled through discipline and intimidation. Yet here he was, powerless, watching another man give Elena something he never had, simple warmth. His jaw tightened as jealousy ignited, sharp and uncontrollable, burning through years of calculated restraint. Victor had always believed loyalty was something he could command. In his world, respect came from fear, and affection was secured through dominance. Seeing Elena accept those roses challenged everything he believed. The gift was harmless, but its meaning was dangerous. It represented freedom, choice, and emotional honesty, things Victor couldn't buy or enforce. He told himself it was nothing, that Elena belonged to him, but the doubt crept in silently, poisoning his thoughts. For the first time, he questioned whether his power meant anything outside his empire. Unaware of the storm brewing behind dark glass, Elena thanked Daniel and watched him disappear into the crowd. She stood alone for a moment, holding the roses close, feeling both warmth and unease. Something had shifted, even if she couldn't fully explain it. Those flowers weren't just a kind gesture, they were a spark that illuminated the cracks in her secret life. And as Victor Romano sat in silence, consumed by jealousy, the balance between control and loss had already begun to tilt. That night, the city lights shimmered across the glass walls of Victor Romano's penthouse, casting long reflections that matched the cold stillness in his eyes. He sat alone with a drink untouched in his hand, replaying the image of Elena holding those roses. The scene refused to fade. It haunted him more than any enemy ever had. He realized his anger wasn't only directed at Daniel, the quiet volunteer, but at himself. For years, Victor had mastered control over people and territory, yet he had failed at the simplest human act, showing warmth to the woman he claimed to love. Victor's life had been built on strategy and fear. Every relationship he maintained was transactional, measured in loyalty and consequence. With Elena, he believed money and protection were enough. He gave her a luxury apartment, security, and freedom from financial worry, but never emotional safety. Sitting there in silence, he felt an unfamiliar discomfort growing inside him. The roses symbolized what he never offered, kindness without conditions. For the first time, Victor wondered if his power had blinded him to what truly mattered. Across the city, Elena stood quietly in her apartment, placing the deep red roses into a clear glass vase. The simple act felt almost sacred. As she adjusted the stems, a sense of calm washed over her, gentle and unfamiliar. She realized how rarely she felt peace. Her life with Victor was intense, secretive, and constantly surrounded by unspoken danger. Daniel's small gesture reminded her of a world where affection didn't come with fear or rules. She stared at the roses, breathing slowly, letting the silence speak. Memories began to surface, dreams she once had before secrecy became her normal. She remembered wanting a life built on honesty, laughter, and public love. With Victor, she was always hidden, always careful. The roses didn't promise romance, but they reminded her she had a choice. That realization was both comforting and terrifying. Elena began questioning the future she was drifting toward, wondering if security was worth the emotional cost she paid every single day. Back in the penthouse, Victor paced the room, frustration tightening his chest. He could command men with a single phone call, make problems disappear overnight, and control entire neighborhoods with his influence. The streets of New York bent to his will, yet Elena's heart remained beyond his reach. That truth cut deeper than any threat. He understood now that fear could never compete with sincerity. The realization made him feel exposed, stripped of the armor he had relied on his entire life. Victor considered confronting Daniel, asserting his dominance the way he always did. But even that thought felt hollow. Violence couldn't erase the meaning behind those roses. He knew that no amount of intimidation could force genuine love. For the first time, Victor felt small inside his vast empire. His wealth and power suddenly seemed fragile, unable to protect him from loss. As distant Christmas bells echoed through the city, Victor stopped pacing and stared out at the skyline. The holiday lights below felt mocking, celebrating warmth he didn't possess. He finally accepted the brutal truth he had avoided for years: jealousy was his most dangerous enemy. It clouded judgment, weakened control, and revealed his deepest fears. And unlike every battle before, this one couldn't be won with threats or violence.